Hello family, coming back on with another video. Wanted to share some latest updates and then two dreams that I feel led to share. Don't remember all of the dream, but I just find it interesting that a lot of different things are surfacing up in the news about UFO sightings, and I want to just share some of what's in the news. But first, I want to give honor to the Almighty, the Most High, unto His Son Yeshua, unto the Ruach, which is the Holy Spirit. So, I just wanted to share also a website with you all where they once go on and they enter in to a website which goes all the way back to I want to say in the 40s, that they may have put it in themselves because you submit the information and then they upload it, or vice versa, where now in the later date. But it's been a lot of sightings on the East Coast opposed to the West Coast, and a lot sightings have been around the Capitol in Washington D.C. So I have actually also an article going back when Truman was in office back in 1952. There were reported was about 9 different saucers, like UFOs, like one time over the White House and in the Capitol area, which is not too far from the White House. So what does all have to do with us as Israelites? I don't fully understand all of it. I know my Hebrew brothers, I've seen a lot of them have made videos online and talking about it. And, it's very interesting to hear them when they speak on it. I've prayed about it and asked the Almighty for clarity and understanding. So, I've had a dream. One of the dreams is I was actually in my backyard, and the dream was that I saw a spacecraft, an aircraft, and it was like rectangular. It wasn't the normal shape. So I remember it's just going real quick over my head, and I remember just saying to myself, like, oh, what about me, or something like that. Like if it, not want to say it left me, but it just went over my head, and it just looked different. And I shared it with one of my nephews who are in walking in this truth, and he was like, well, maybe that wasn't because of the shape and how we've been told the shape looks. And then one night I woke up, one early one morning, it was actually getting ready. It wasn't even, it was early morning, probably about 4-5 o'clock in the morning. And I went to my back window, and it was 2 aircraft that I looked at it to be a helicopter, but I don't recall hearing any noise, and it was flying really low above the tree line in my backyard. And I have neighbors on the back side of me, on the front of me, of course, on both sides. But I remember seeing 2, and I remember seeing lights. And then I went to the front window to look out to see, if I could see where they went. And they went across, and they basically, at this point now I'm thinking, I'm like, could that have been one? Because it was hovering over the trees that were across from me, but further, to my left. And so I just, went back and got in bed. I didn't even, thought anything really about it. So y'all get real deal with me, honey. I'm in here getting ready to fry some chicken. Okay, so then, last week I was, so this is another situation. I was sitting at my desk and look out to the left, because I've been seeking the Almighty for understanding. I have a sister on Facebook. She shares, different things that she experienced and whatnot. So I was just seeking the Almighty, just trying to, understand. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden the sky opened where something came out, was shining, and I jumped up, and I went to the window where over my sink, instead of going to the window where I normally would go. And I was looking for it to come over the trees, and it never did. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, could that have been one? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I was like, wow. So then I was like, wow. And so, every now and then I'll look back, in that direction to see if I see anything. But I know the Almighty just, and because I'm trying to understand, all this truth and understanding. So just to add to that too, before I go into the two dreams that I had, and it was actually surrounding my Hebrew brothers, and I look at their channels. One is Moray Josh, off of Hebrew building. Is it Hebrew Nation Building? And one is actually off of Honor and Humility. So I look at both of their channels. But the one that I actually had with Josh, it was where we were all together, and he was teaching us what we needed to do. And up in the sky, I saw a white. It looked like an eagle, but it was white. And then it had birds that were dark, or birds are surrounding it. But the one that was white, it was so big, it didn't look like a dove. Yeah, I'm messing up already. It didn't look like a dove. It looked like it looked like, to me, like an eagle. It was big than the other birds. But Moray Josh was with me and some other people, and we were like, it seeming like we were on the run, or he was teaching us things of what we needed to do, but we were like in the midst. And I remember seeing it, but it was flying the opposite direction from where we were. And then I later woke up out of the dream. Then the dream I had with I want to say his name is Melchizedek, I'm sorry, but he's off of Honor and Humility. He one of the brothers there. And this one where we were at this location in a building where I had my own room where I was in like a hotel area, but there were all kind of like worms, like when I say worms, caterpillars on my bed, but it was this green color. And it's like I fold the cover back, and I was like, oh my goodness, where are all these caterpillars coming from? There was like on my covering. And then I saw the other color too that I really, don't like. I had a fear of those caterpillars, because, they'll come like in groves, like, like every 7-year thing, they'll come out like the locusts. But these were caterpillars, and I was like, and come to think of it, could have been locusts and it could have been the caterpillars. I'm not sure, but they were at the same location, and they came to the room to. They sprayed on the bed where I was, and sprayed on this bed and killed them all. And then I woke up. So I was with them also. And then I was with Moray, also, Josh, also. So, like, I'm not one that the Almighty have really, to me, deal with dreams about. There are things that I've seen in fast motion, and, just in recent months, I've been able to see some things, and they haven't came to pass, but it happened like I'll be in the midst of it, and then it just take me through it real fast, like, and then there, this particular time also, let me just stick on this while I'm on this subject right here. Getting back to the actually UFO type of, why I'm actually coming on. Is because, not only that, there are pictures back in the 1300s where Yeshua and Mary, where the UFO is lights are shining on Yeshua in the picture. I'm like, somebody knows something. And not only the lights shining on Yeshua, but even when he was born, the light that they were speaking of to guide in the wise men, that light was what they have in the picture, like they were speaking of, to bring them to Yeshua, to bring the presence. So, and these are on pictures. back like in the early 1300s. So, family, I say this to say that it's more to it. I don't understand all of it. Maybe you might know, have some insights. I've listened to one of the brother out of Myrtle Beach, and he is I think want to say GMS. Really, I mean, love my Hebrew brothers and my sisters. I tell you, the Almighty would lead me to different places, and I would check it out and whatnot, and get whatever edification I need to get from it. And he actually, in one of his videos, there were, I want to say, 3 sightings right behind him while he was speaking, teaching on the streets. So, and it looks similar to what I saw in the sky as well. So, and for real, not in a dream, but as I was sitting in my house, and that was last week when I saw it. So, okay, and then, so the website I want to share with you all about is, I'll get to that shortly, but you can see that this is 5 days. People are still talking about the UFO. So some people believe that it's going to be, I'm trying to cook you up. Y'all know my story. I used to eat out. Like, every day, morning and night. I used to spend almost $1,000 on eating out. And Father, when I tell you, he stripped me and shift me and take me away from me seeing money, trust me, I'm cooking now. And this right here, I'm still learning. I'm 53 years old and still, you have to understand what time it is. But, so, going back to that, you can see all these different things. I'm just going to take you through it, and you can plug it in yourself, and you can see how recent they are, all the stuff coming up about the UFOs. Even one where they said Trump made a little comment, said he didn't believe in it, and whatnot. And there was one that I wanted to take you to where this young man who actually, he was young then, and then it was an older man. They were in, I can't remember, I have it up on my desktop, but they were out fishing, and they said they got abducted. And what it did is that it just checked them. But from that point, they said that they were scared. So I've heard story where they said they have seen them and they're dark, real dark skin, like look like black people, but darker than black people. Then I've heard other stories. So then you don't hear a lot of black people, so-called black people, being abducted. Then you've heard where people who have the certain blood type, they're being abducted. So I don't know, family. All I know is that I'm not on here to confuse you all. I'm just bringing it forth as I feel led to. And I'm going to show you the website that I was speaking of. And this pretty much run down, this page and let you see, how many news outlets are talking about it. So some people, they feel like they're bringing it to the forefront because of what's to come. They already know that something that is tied into us. And that, when the song being Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, that means that those are the chariots. And I've read it in, I want to say Ezekiel, and I've also heard my Hebrew brothers speak on it from Enoch and different things of that. So I'm not just as an expert on it, but I just wanted to put this out there and just to give you an idea of understanding that, people are actually, talking about this, and you don't see the same news article coming from the same people. They really are talking about it. So I'm going to go to this right here, and this is going to tell you and show you where in 1952 UFOs over Washington sent the national press into a frenzy. And this, you can actually go on Wikipedia and see it, but I'm going to click in this one and go in a little deeper. So Truman claimed that he actually saw a UFO, and he went on the news. He said that they worked it out, that they came up with an agreement. And I'm like, oh, okay, really? But what's interesting, like I say, you see them always saying that, oh, it appeared, in this part of the United States, but literally it's mainly more so in the east, where near the White House and around that area, and that's amazing there by itself. So UFOs reported in the capital's airspace set headlines blaring across the nation about discs and what zits and mystery lights. In 1952 marked the year of that UFO fever spread across the Cold War America, Events in late July of that year spiked that mania to critical levels. That's when the grandfather of all saucer sightings took place in the skies above the nation capital, causing a coast-to-coast collective draw drop. So I wanted to see if Truman. So it said when President Harry Truman quietly called for answers, a representative from the Air Force secret UFO investigation team, Project Blue Book, was summoned to to DC. But before anyone could fully probe the incidents, the Air Force hastily convened a press conference to quell the panic, blaming the whole thing on the weather. Okay, so keep on. So like I say, a part of me, like when the Almighty give me more further revelation, I'll be able to talk more on it. But he just haven't at this time. But I just still feel led to bring this to the forefront of if there any panic or anything come forth that they're doing from an evil manner or whatnot. Trust and believe. Your goal and always to trust in the Almighty. You have no fear for nothing and no one. Period. That's how we need to be so into the word, into the Almighty, to understand what this truth is all about. So I'm not going to read any further. I can actually share this link with you as well, and you can check it out yourself. But I want to go to this website here, which is another one, like I said, I will share. And I came across this probably about a month ago. And this right here, it gives you the latest on who's actually, and I may have shared this before. I share from two different pages, so you can see the different, far as, now it has a breakdown where you can go by state and you can see, but I think it only covers within the United States. You can see in June is 358 sightings, they said. In May of last month was 506. And as you can tell here, July 2014 was the most that they have seen. I want to say within 2014 and 2016 was the most, period. But this is just a website. And I may have shared this, you all. I feel like I did this before, but if I did, please understand and whatnot. But I just wanted to give you this, and let's remember to put the Almighty first, and you and understand that we not to fear anything. We need to lean on Him. Anything that you presence in your presence that is not of the Almighty, and through that discernment, rebuke it and know and understand what that is all about. So that's all I have, family. Just to put this again in your ears and provide what I feel led to do, and for whatever reason the Almighty lead me to do this, to bring this forth, and not having a lot of say I know this is what He told me, I just can't do that because He hasn't, but this as far as He's leading me to do. So this is like an insight, like be aware, that kind of thing. So family, blessings to you all. Take care. Love each and every one of you. Our redemption is near, family. Shalom.